This day has finally come, and it will go down in history as the best Skibidi season of all time, as the amount of lore in it is just off the charts. And when I imagine doing the analysis for 1 billion hours, I pass out, bro. But as always, we got a lot of information, but also a lot of questions that you obviously want to know the answers to. But don't worry, because as always, I'm going to give you absolutely every detail of this season, and you have no idea how much we have to discuss. In this video, I will tell you about Gman's secret weapon, about the Titan cameraman and whether he is alive, about the mystical girl, about the secret agent, about new race, and in general about everything that is possible. And I assure you, what you hear in this video will open your eyes to what's really going on in the show, and I doubt anyone's gonna tell you that. So you better get ready. Hello friends, you're on the channel. Subscribe to the channel and press the like button under the video to speed up the release of the next video. And let's go. The episode begins in one of the lab buildings, where we are shown the POV Camerawoman, who is literally sparking from injuries sustained in episode 73. If you recall, she lost her arm in episode 73, and as I understand it, the events here take place around the time of episode 75, and you'll see later why I came to that conclusion. Immediately notice that there is someone standing next to her, but beyond that, you can hear someone's voice saying her name several times. Kathy, are you okay?
Are you okay?
And we see a character from the leak, and it turns out we weren't wrong, and it's Dave Plungerman holding a crowbar. And as I understand it, it's a flashback that will tell us what was going on here. Also note that his glasses are broken, which means something unpredictable has happened, which we'll find out about in a few seconds. After she notices him and says his name, he says, "You don't look good. Can you get up?" and immediately disappears, showing us that this is her flashback and not reality. We also see that the character standing next to her is the engineer who is fixing her arm. Also, Dave says, "You were unconscious." But the engineer also suddenly disappears, which suggests that the camerawoman may not realize what reality she is in and her memories mixed with reality. Also, Dave says that something terrible has happened, referring to the failure of the Grand Blue Energy experiment. Also, the scientist who is next to her also disappears. And honestly, this scene is damn well done. Are we in Hollywood, bruh? Boom is cooking is on some crazy level, and it's definitely worth praising. Dave says, "We need to get out of here as soon as we can," passing through the door, temporarily disappearing. Kathy immediately followed him, saying, "Do you think it's the Great Experiment?" To which we hear, "Whole system overloaded, only one thing could cause this."
Whole system overloaded. Only one thing could cause this.
And the same words were said to us by Boom during Steak's stream. You think it's because of Grand Experiment? Whole system overloaded. But then he asked us, what else could cause this? But from Dave's speech, he knows exactly what could have caused this because he said, only one thing could cause this. But even though he probably knows what it is, he still doesn't tell us about it and just starts slowly exploring the hallway, where there are papers with blood scattered on the floor. Also on the way out the door, notice the logo, Secret Trinity Association of Research, with the letters ACT in the center. If we try to think about the meaning of this logo, we can come to two conclusions. Either it is simply the name of the Alpha Hills Association, or it is a clue for us on the subject of the Skibidi toilet. So ST means Skibidi toilet, and Trinity is a reference to the three races, TV, camera, and speaker races. Also, Secret Trinity can mean that Alpha Hills is not the only organization, and in general there are additionally two similar organizations, and maybe just the other two organizations belong to the speakermen and the TV men. Because in episode 77, the TV scientist also did some kind of experiment where he lost his daughter and turned from a human into a TV man. So it makes sense that each race runs its own organization as Alpha Hills. But in any case, this is just my guess, and we need to learn about the speakerman's story to back up that theory. But for now, write your thought. Kathy tries to stop Dave, saying wait because it might be too dangerous. And as the camera turns around, we see fire bursting out of the vent, and Kathy asks where everybody is, to which Dave replies that they've left, or maybe they're stuck somewhere. But all of a sudden we hear this creepy sound, like an inhuman scream. And honestly, for a second I thought it was some kind of freaking monster. But if you listen to it a few times, I think we've heard it before. And I'm talking about the mutant scream from episode 69. Listen for yourself. I can't say with certainty that it's the scream of this particular mutant type, but you'd have to agree that the sounds are pretty similar. She asked what that sound was, but Dave pointed to the door that was still working and told her to try to find the others and contact the surface, while Dave went to the test chamber and found out what the hell happened here. Which, by the way, is a pretty dangerous idea. He also decided to take a second crowbar to have a better chance of fighting off the monster. But Kathy also realized that this was a bad idea because it was too dangerous. And I'm once again convinced of how badass Dave is because he said that someone might need help right now and that he couldn't leave anyone behind. And he doesn't care if it's dangerous or not. And for that, bro really deserves a plus 100 to respect because there is no way I would ever go there. Dave is Sigma Boy without exaggeration. After this wonderful speech about saving the needy, he began to move slowly down the hallway. But he turned around for a second and told Kathy not to worry, because he promises he'll be fine, which I highly doubt because we know that in the future, he'll turn into a cameraman for reasons we don't understand. I can assume that his body will get serious wounds incompatible with life, and to save him, he will be turned into a cameraman. Or maybe there is some other reason for turning into a cameraman. Who knows? We still have a lot of questions about this scene, but no answers yet. And I wish I could yap more, but I can't pass by without talking about his handsome face. Bro almost got me with that Riz aura. Nah, bruh, I'm just kidding, and don't even dare think I'm simping over him. Anyway, Dave went literally into the middle of nowhere where he'd meet anything and hope to kick some ass. But Kathy asked him to be careful, and then she started to come to her senses, where instead of Dave, there were cameramen walking down the same hallway, which confirms that they're still working at the very same lab. And as you can see, we do see Plungerman's body accompanied by a detective who will try to get information about the secret agent from it. Also on the left, we see the simp cameraman who is clearly sad for Plungerman. By the way, if you remember, Boom once said that the simp cameraman will have his own role. And since we see him in this frame, maybe he is still up to something. I hope Bro is capable of something more than simping over TV woman. But despite Plungerman's body, the most important thing in this scene will be at the very end. And while the detective is slowly moving down the corridor, we need to pay attention to the TV, on which we see the inscription camera offline. But what is most surprising is that at the bottom it says Titan, which means it is the POV Titan cameraman who still can't be found. And I've seen a lot of people think that Titan cameraman is dead because his camera is off, but he's not, and it's pretty stupid to base that on. I'm going to prove to you that the cameraman is alive and that he's perfectly fine. First, in episode 76, the Overseer made it clear that the squad that was tracking Titan is missing, which means that the squad got their ass kicked by someone, and it was most likely Titan cameraman who was helped along. Secondly, camera offline is explained by the existence of a secret agent who can disable cameras like he always does. We have seen errors like transmission error or recording error repeatedly, which clearly tells us that a secret agent can disable cameras. If you've watched all my videos, you know that I've said before that the Titan cameraman could have been saved by a secret agent, which is a very realistic theory since he's the only one who can disable cameras, and he's clearly interested in making sure such a tough guy survives and helps in the fight against Astros. So the Titan cameraman is definitely alive, and I'll tell you even more that the Titan cameraman is going to be the key to winning this war, because we were literally given a hint about it at the end of the season. I'm sure you didn't notice it, so stay until the very end and I would tell you about it. The second scene begins with the detective and the scientists are trying to extract information from Plungerman's body. First, they scan his body with some small device, and then they connect a tentacle to the body itself. But it turns out the secret agent had seen it coming, and green sparks fly out of the body, which clearly tells us that the secret agent will not allow himself to be found out. And we hear emergency sounds and realize that their system is overloaded. And we notice a detective who didn't even stay until the end of the process because he clearly realized that the secret agent isn't going to give him what he wants. And the cool thing is that the guys have a scanner that scans your body before opening the door, and it's unlikely that any of the cameramen other than the scientists can get in here. We also saw the camerawoman who was clearly trying to see if they'd managed to get anything, but the detective didn't even pay attention to her. But here the scene changes again, and we see Titan TV Man and Speaker Man after their escape from the Astro Squad in episode 74. And we notice that Titan Cameraman's camera is already turned off, even though the events here take place just a few minutes after they left the place, and I suspect that this is when the secret agent had already saved him. But he purposely turned off the camera so no one would see it. And the proof will be the Overseer's words that they tracked down the Titan, but their squad disappeared, which means that around this point, the Titan cameraman escaped with the help of a secret agent. And if you look closely at this frame, you can see that the Astros are heading after him. That is, at first he attacked a few Astros to create a distraction and let the other Titans get away. But at that point he realized he needed to escape, and they started chasing him. And as soon as the Titan TV men teleported, which happened about 10 seconds after the cameramen went to attack, his camera was already off, but the Overseer said that the retracking squad was missing, which literally means that the Titan cameraman is alive. That is, saved by the secret agent from that very second. I hope I've explained everything in detail. but we'll talk more about it towards the end of the video. The speakerman's heart was literally breaking that he left his bro, and he clearly thought they had killed him. But the TV man told him to calm down and that he should get upgrades first, and then he teleported him to another location, probably the speakerman's base. But the scene changes again and we find ourselves in Detroit, where we see that the situation here is just as sad. There are bodies of agents lying on the ground, all on fire. Even the POV's camera is damaged, which is something new for us, since Boom didn't pay much attention to it before. Bro tried to crawl over to the other cameraman, but he had no luck. He was spotted by one of the Astros, who killed him with a smile on his face. Rip Detroit cameraman, we will remember you. Next up is episode 75, where we've gotten some changes. Namely, Boom improved the quality of the animation, as well as added a new scene and also redesigned the female Skibidi mutant. The new scene begins after the Astros have destroyed a Skibidi squad. The POV noticed the Skibidi toilets hiding, as well as the mutant woman who looked like this earlier. Cameraman realized that they were not going to attack him, and he also saw the Astros destroy the Skibidi squad, which means that they are also enemies, but he was still shocked at what was happening. We also got some changes to the battle with the little Juggernaut, but I want to draw your attention to the fact that the quality of episode 75 itself has improved a lot. I'm not gonna lie, bro really turned on the RTX, and the difference is insane. We also saw a new weapon used by female mutant. This thing is literally the same as Juggernaut's shield, only in the shape of some kind of blade. From what I understand, they can convert this energy into various weapons, and it's pretty damn cool. Also in the season, she said that they should follow her if they want to live.
Follow me if you wanna live.
Although in episode 75, she just showed them to be quiet. Also in this season, we saw a very sad moment when the little Juggernaut reached out to his daddy, although it was not in the episode. And even though the little Juggernaut wanted to kill everyone, I felt really bad for him. Rest in peace, doggy. We also saw the chair from a different angle, but the best part was at the end because we actually got a freaking Gary Newman toilet before GTA 6, bruh. Boom got wild with this one, and I thought he was just trolling us. So Gary's canon? It is, bro. I even went on his Twitter to see if he'd seen it, but he doesn't seem to know about it yet. And even though he said he doesn't care about anything to do with Skibidi, I wonder how he'd react. Hopefully we'll find out soon. But what shocked me as well was the freaking cigar sticking out of Mommy's mouth. Guys, I think we lost her and she joined the Snoop squad. Hell nah, bruh. Also in this frame is the chair from a leak I recently received. But as you know, the mystery of the chair will be revealed at the end of the episode. Anyway, we got a new scene with humans that shocked me a bit, because the subject of humans came up rather quickly and suddenly. The scene starts with a woman holding a picture of her and her sister. As you guessed it, her sister is a Skibidi mutant who likes to smoke cigars a little bit. And we learn from her that her sister was working for National Guard when chaos broke out in Alpha Hills and the experiment went wrong. She's been trying to find her sister, but with no luck, and she's not even sure if her sister is alive. But she will be very happy when she finds out that her sister is alive. Hopefully they will meet. There is also a poster on the wall, which is probably the merch store reference, because there's going to be another reference to it a little bit later. At the same time, another cameraman is trying to riz a poor girl by drinking some drink with no mouth. Bro thinks he's funny, but he's not. But I guess he did make an impression because she thought he was funny. But then we saw an ungrateful dude who refused to eat this wonderful dish, saying it was some kind of shit.
Smells like shit, bro. I ain't eating all that.
Poor cameraman tried so hard, but this asshole broke his heart. I hope he gets karma for this. At the same time, dude came out of the toilet, and bro literally handed the shitty plunger to the cameraman, to which he was obviously angry because he started shaking, because holding a plunger brings to mind the Plungerman that we just recently lost. Also in this moment, we see Skibidi toys on the shelves, which is clearly a reference to the merch store. But as POV begins to move down the hallway, we see something really wild. And I'm talking about this one. What the hell is this? What is this cameraman for? But the weirdest thing is that it's the POV cameraman we're watching this scene through. Because if you look closely, it's a mirror. I have no idea why is bro looking like that. There's some freaky stuff going on here, bruh, and I ain't want to know about it. But then something really interesting starts to happen. Because there's TV scientist who got some kind of thing from the speaker man and attached it to his TV. And I think it's not hard to guess that this device makes it possible to speak normal English, not in reverse. And as I understand it, this is a speakerman technology that allows the user of this device to adapt to any language. They may even be able to understand and speak the Skibidi language with this device. And that's obviously cool. The TV scientist asked who worked at Alpha Hills, and one man raised his hand and approached him. But the detective suddenly appeared and stopped the man. But the TV man reacted quite aggressively and said to know his place and pushed the detective up against the wall, to which the detective drew his gun. But luckily, the speakerman scientist stopped them. And honestly, we've seen time and time again that TV men treat cameramen like crap, and I don't understand why they do it. Could it be the cameraman's fault that they've all turned into robots? Or is there some other reason? But whatever the case, Boom once said that karma awaits them. Maybe they already got karma when the Astros took over their Titan. Or maybe they're in for something even worse. I have no idea. The scientist asked the cameraman if he had checked out all the survivors. He nodded his head as yes, but it looked like Bro had screwed up because there was a crazy Skibidi dude doing some Spider-Man stuff jumping on the walls. But in the end, it turned out he wasn't crazy, and even started yapping that he came here to speak for his people. And also said that in these hard times, they should take the opportunity to form a new union and bury the hatchet, and that was the end of that scene. But we need to figure out where this dude came from. I've seen some guys cheering their return of this character. I mean, people are saying that these two dudes are the same character, based on the fact that they have the same cap. But you'd have to be really blind not to see that they are different characters. Yes, they have the same caps, but bro, the faces are totally different. This dude actually looks like the infected guy from episode 73. And I think that this guy infiltrated that group of people on purpose because he knew that the cameramen would find them and take them to their lab, so this dude could convince them to form an alliance. Bro's really 10 steps ahead. Also confirming that this is the guy from episode 73 is that it's just impossible that a random mutant could get into a guarded cameraman base. It's just impossible, bro, so he's been waiting for the right moment all this time. Bro went to the restroom and upgraded himself with a piece of toilet and became Spider-Man yapping about peace. Anyway, we cut to a new scene where some mutant tries to tear up the lucky cameraman. But suddenly his ass is saved by a secret agent who throws a spear at the mutant's head, gives him a juicy slap, and sends him into oblivion. By the way, there was also a version about Boom banishing the hater from the Skibidi community. But you probably know that yourself. And I'm surprised that we literally saw the secret agent doing something with his hands, but this time, there's something wrong with him. Because sometimes in some moments he has a strange look on his face, like he's infected with the Skibidi virus, because only toilets make that kind of face. I don't know what that is, but bro is weird. But he helped the cameraman up and said, "Hello again. Their leaders are hiding inside my facility. They stole our technology."
I'm angry. My anger is immeasurable.
What the heck is that? I can't even put into words how weird this is. This is gonna sound crazy, but is this the secret agent we know? Bro really looks like the dude from the last scene. He's shaking for some reason, and he's also got some weird emotion on his face. He then said they think they're safe, but they're wrong, and handed him a remote, which is his master key and can open any door and give access to every computer inside. Also note the word computer, which clearly stands out, which is clearly a clue to the computer men who are already among us, but more on that later. From here, there's not much the secret agent can do, but he's confident their squad can handle it. And as you already know, the detective watched the whole thing as he connected directly to the Lucky through a wire. Lucky, of course, started covering for his friend and saying he is on their side. But the detective has played these games before, and he didn't fall for this cheap show, and ordered cameramen to keep an eye on Lucky while he went to dig up more information. Lucky became disgruntled because they refused to even uncuff him, and he got upset. But that's where the scene ends. Guys, I don't know what's going on with the secret agent, but he's clearly a little bit crazy, and he looks like he's infected with the Skibidi virus because the emotion on his face is extremely weird. Or maybe he's just a man with some kind of mental disorder. I actually have a few thoughts, but maybe I need to gather more information, so we'll leave him alone for now, but bro is weird. After that scene, episode 76 started, in which I didn't notice any changes, but small changes had already appeared in episode 77. First, there is some blue energy emitting barrier-like things on the gate to the base. And also, Boom redesigned the female mutant we saw in the episode 75. By the way, I told you that the girl in episodes 75 and 77 was the same character, but you didn't think so. Anyway, other than that, I don't think there's been any big changes in episode 77, but if I missed anything, let me know. But we're finally getting to the last and probably the most important scene. This time, we're in Oregon, USA. The first thing to pay attention to is that there has already been some kind of battle, as there is someone's corpse on the ground. The military tried to confront the toilets, and by the number of cooked toilets, they did a good job. But at the end of the day, there were no survivors. But suddenly we hear some noise, and as the camera turns, 2 gigachads fall to the ground, and the yapping session begins. Juggernaut says, "What for this fight?" To which Gman says, "You tell me." But the Juggernaut's starting to show off by saying, "Accept your defeat with honor, if you still have it." But the Gman reacts appropriately enough by saying, "Why such hostility? Did you forget how we conquered the worlds together?" I'm not gonna lie, the fact that they've taken over worlds is crazy. It turns out the guys have actually played these games before. By the way, in one interview, Boom hinted to us that besides Astros, there are some other guys who are probably also from space, and they can be even more dangerous than Astros themselves. And there is a logic in it, because if they captured a lot of worlds, there are definitely other worlds with their own civilizations, and they can be much more dangerous. What if the Astros have created an even more dangerous threat by their actions? Holy cow. We still have so much to learn, and it's kinda mind-blowing, bruh. Gman said the Juggernaut will always be like a brother to him, but to them an expandable pawn. And at this point, I'm even more convinced what a badass character Gman is. Yes, bro did a lot of shit, but still he cares about his troops. Bro almost let out a tear when he saw the scientist's body in episode 73, and that's clearly worthy of respect. Also, talking to Juggernaut, he shows that he's a really experienced dude and has played these games more than anyone else, and he's really acting as composed and dignified as a real general, which is not the case with Juggernaut, whose ass is on fire, as he told Gman to stop yapping and fight him. But Gmail doesn't even want to fight him to show his respect, and he also wants the Juggernaut to join him. But the Juggernaut replied, "Join you after you hurt my baby?" And starts beating his fists against G-Man's shield. But Daddy went a little crazy and locked in and started smashing Juggy with his Satama punches. And I think after seeing this, we should have no arguments who is stronger, because Daddy literally humiliated him in 3 seconds. But I didn't quite understand which baby the Juggernaut was talking about. Did he mean the little Juggy who was killed by the cameramen in toilets? Or does he mean that the G-Man himself killed one of his baby? Because as far as I understand, the Juggernaut has more than one baby. If he means the small version of himself from episode 75, but in fact he was killed not by the G-Man, but by small agents. But maybe the Juggernaut thinks that the G-Man is to blame for it, because his troops were also involved in it. G-Man says you know there was no choice, but he knows what it's like to watch your child suffer. By the way, when the camera turns, we see a green glow on the tower, because that's when the woman we see later teleported here. But I'm still wondering what G-Man means that he knows what it's like to watch your child suffer. Do G-Man have kids? Imagine the Skibidi scientist is G-Man's son. Hell nah. Ain't no way this bald 100-year-old guy his son. The scientist is like 69 times older than G-Man, bruh. But maybe G-Man means his friends, because as far as I can tell, he values his friends very much. In any case, I believe that Dafuk will surely reveal more of G-Man's lore to us. Also, G-Man literally vaporized, and the Juggernaut didn't even realize where he went. By the way, at this point, you can clearly see someone standing on the tower, but without the green glow. G-Man says, "Join me, and your legacy will never know oppression again." You have my word. And to be honest, the Juggernaut was starting to think about that, but then he said, "What is the price of your words? One of your titans is in their possession. Someone you know is there too. With special request, would you do what is necessary when time comes?" G-Man says, "They would have to find me first." Actually, in those 5 seconds, they really made my head explode. First of all, who does the Juggernaut mean by them?
One of your diamonds is in their possession.
Does he mean the alliance that took over the body of the Skibidi scientist? But then, who's the other dude who's also there with this special request?
Someone you know very well. With special request.
Or does the Juggernaut mean the Astro Toilets and that they captured Titan TV Man? But in that case, why doesn't he count himself and say we instead of they? And who's the dude with the special request? A billion questions and 0 answers. But I'm more inclined to think he's talking about the Astros that took over Titan TV Man. But what does he mean by, would you do what is necessary when time comes?
We shall do what's necessary when time comes.
Does he mean that G-Man will have to betray the Alliance in case of defeating Astro and take over this planet? Or maybe sacrifice himself? Or maybe something else? G-Man kind of dodged the question and said they'd have to find me first. Maybe I'm missing something. But this is all very confusing. Anyway, we'll figure it out some other time, since I'm not really getting it together after a day without sleep. But it's clear that G-Man is good at hiding, since Bro uses some kind of hologram that can't be attacked. But it's interesting that when he humiliated the Juggernaut in 3 seconds, he disappeared somewhere and then came from somewhere far away. And it seems to me that it was at that moment that he somehow switched himself and sent a hologram instead of himself. Bro is clearly chillin' with Secret Agent's technology, and I'll explain later why I think so. By the way, also note that the Juggernaut was stunned that he couldn't hit him. And G-Man said, "A secret weapon is preparing, waiting for the right moment. When it strikes, you better be on our side. I would hate for your children to become parentless." But more importantly, notice that at the exact moment that G-Man begins to disappear, so does the secret agent. But let's keep watching. The Juggernaut is clearly thinking about this deal, and I can say with 99% certainty that Bro will join Gman a little later. But suddenly the other Astros arrive, and the Overseer asks, "Where is he?" The Juggernaut replied that the commander had escaped, and look how angry the Overseer was that the Juggy still calls Gman the commander.
Commander? I am your commander.
And I'm really surprised that this little bastard is the commander. I really thought he was a rat. Overseer said that Juggernaut has already failed him twice. Should he doubt his efficiency or loyalty? Your next failure will be your last, to which Juggernaut said he won't fail. And at the end, the Overseer dares to say that soon there will be no place on Earth for this rat to hide.
Very soon, there won't be a place on Earth this rat can hide in.
Ayo, bruh, it's funny that a rat calls someone a rat. I don't know what he's on, but either way, he's gonna get his ass kicked pretty soon. As a goodbye, he also ordered the Juggernaut to go to the mothership to get repairs. And it turns out that the mothership is still something of a mini Astro base for repairs, and it's clearly not designed for combat. Yes, it can destroy a building, but it's hardly useful in real combat where everything happens very quickly. Anyway, Astro started completely destroying this location with crazy laughter. Guy's really getting a kick out of it. Poor cameraman tries to save himself, but it's too late and he gets hit by a shell. And now comes the biggest reveal in the show's history. On the right side in the corner, there is a transmission error that changes color from pink to red every second. And magically, the chair turns into a red car that starts spinning and slowly heads towards the cameraman, then turns back into a chair, then into a plant, and then into a beautiful girl who instantly starts gathering 8-year-old simps around her. She slowly walks up to him, and it turns out it's Zoe from Left 4 Dead, who's a fan of green just like a secret agent, and she's holding a floppy disk in her hand. And now the magic I predicted a long time ago is about to happen. She inserts the floppy disk into his head, and we see the message, "Warning, malware detected." Unfortunately, Bro disabled Windows Defender to download some mod for Poppy playtime, and that was his downfall. In the upper right corner, it says, "Alpha Hills OS installed." And the sky became incredibly clear, and we found ourselves in some beautiful location. Bro literally got Windows 98 without SS and registration, and we saw the inscription, "Welcome to the family." By the way, she has insanely beautiful green eyes, even brighter than a secret agent's. But that's the end of this scene. And we will look at the black screen for another 20 seconds because Bro wanted a 51-minute video. Alright, I'm kidding. Actually, I'm really tired from making this super long video, and I plan on leaving some information for the next videos. But I can't leave you guys without an explanation, so let me just give you a quick rundown. First of all, it's not a secret agent because some people think it is. The shape-shifting theory checks out, but I can't say it's a computer woman. But apparently she works for a secret agent and has infected the cameraman with a computer virus, which is a clue to a new computerman race anyway. But either way, Bro joins the secret agent squad. In the past, a secret agent himself infected nearly dead cameramen with that virus. The secret agent first infected the cameraman in episode 47, and probably it was Lucky Cameraman. But now he doesn't want to waste his time and sends his agents. You might also think that the plant and the chair are the same character, but they are not, because we saw them in the same frame in episode 76. So there's at least one other character with the same powers besides her. So the secret agent gathered his squad and gave them his powers. I'd also like to tell you about the secret weapon the G-Man was talking about. I believe the secret weapon is a Titan cameraman that G-Man is going to upgrade. You won't believe this, but he's being aided in this by a secret agent who has disabled the camera so that no one will know about it. It sounds crazy, but I have a lot of thoughts to back up this theory. But I'm going to save that invaluable theory for the next video. But here's a little tip for you. This hologram technology is clearly from a secret agent, because agents who work for a secret agent have similar abilities. They can disappear, becomes intangible and stuff like that, which confirms that G-Man is working with a secret agent, and the silhouette mysteriously disappeared at the same time as G-Man. It's weird, huh? Anyway, I'll tell you about that next time, but that's all for today.